In a few moments, you'll be able to hear this week's Disney Dreamgirls podcast. This show was recorded prior to the announcement by Disney to close the theme parks in Paris, Florida and California. We wanted to send out our very best wishes to everybody whose holidays, employment, livelihood has been impacted upon by this decision, but I am sure we all appreciate that at this present time it is the right thing to do. We urge everybody to follow the advice given by their local health authorities to make sure that they maintain their own good health, stay calm, stay collected, and we will be here to provide a little bit of Disney escapism during this time. You are listening to the Disney Dreamgirls, an unofficial Disney theme parks podcast, and this is show number 304 for Sunday the 15th of March 2020.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Dreamgirls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Jane.
Hello there, Michelle, and how are you this week?
Living the dream, mate.
Oh, are you really?
No, it was a very big sarcastic comment, love.
Oh, I hadn't picked up on that at all, Michelle.
Didn't you?
No.
No, I don't know. It's that time in March where it's getting closer and closer to my class taking their SATs. So the pressure's on to meet deadlines and targets and things like that. And the weather's starting getting nicer, so things with cadets are getting busy. And then on top of that, slap bang in the middle on my son's birthday of all days, where he will be turning 20, I'm going to be having my meniscus repaired.
You are indeed. It's good to know what that is, isn't it, really?
Well, since I've had my meniscus repaired once before, I think people on the show will be very au fait with this cartilage that is housed in your knee. And yeah, I'm going to be having a little bit of surgery to hopefully repair it. No idea about how long it's going to impact me, because you know what I'm like. I was sort of saying to my boss, well, because I've had a general anaesthetic for it, I won't be in on the Tuesday. I'll probably be in by the Wednesday, Thursday. And then I was talking to our friend Ashley Kennedy Turner over at WDW Happy Place, and Sam's virtually had the same operation, the same meniscus issue. He tore his completely and whatever, and he's not back for 6 weeks, so I'm starting to freak out a little bit.
Yeah, well, I remember a certain person, like, as in me this time almost last year, when I had my little op, and I was like, oh, I'll be back at work the following day. No, you've got to listen to your body, Michelle, and do what it tells you, and it's better to take a little bit of time and get over it than go back too soon and then repent at your leisure, so to speak.
True.
So do as you're told, which I know is difficult for you, but, you know, just do as you're told for once.
But the operation time does coincide with the start of Disney Plus in the UK. Woohoo!
Yoo-hoo! Every cloud has a silver lining, you see.
I know, and we've subscribed already.
Yeah, we have too.
I'm so excited.
Yay!
It's just like now I'm making a mental note of everything I want to watch.
I say it's probably quite a good job, actually, that as it launches, I've only got a little time to lead up to our Easter break. So at least I've got 2 weeks at home where I can just binge watch.
I know.
I thought about that.
I've nothing booked for Easter apart from one thing where I'm meeting up with the lovely Tracy Farley.
Well, I'm kind of the same. I've got a couple of little things booked, but I've got more time unbooked than I have booked. Let's put it that way.
I fancy a little trip down to London. I'll have to see if there's anything on the train fares that look enticing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, 2 weeks at home to watch Disney. And
there you go.
I'll have to do a bit of dusting because I'm having a house guest.
You're having a house guest?
I am. The delectable, the delightful, totally bonkers Terry Harden is coming to stay for a few days over in the UK with me.
Aha. So what plans do you have for that, Michelle?
Well, we're trying to sort out a meet-up day with all our UK listeners, our lovely friends, possibly on the 2nd of May. So if you haven't reached out to me and said, yes, please, please let me know, because I'll be starting up a little exclusive chat where we will try and put together a plan of where we can meet up with Terry and yourselves. It's going to be somewhere in the north of England. So we're possibly looking at either York or Manchester as things stand.
Right.
I can't tire out, the poor woman. She's just flown all the way from the USA, and then I'm trailing her down to London again, because basically she's coming up because she wants to spend some time in this part of the world, and I'll be taking her around some highlights, lowlights, and an American diner.
Oh, so you'll be like a little tourist clerk, won't you, for those few days?
I know. I'm getting in lots of practice, because later on in the year I've got the wonderful Anthony Markham coming to stay.
I can see a little sideline here. Yorkshire by Michelle.
I know. Bed and breakfast. Proper bacon, people. Proper bacon.
Get them onto the proper stuff.
Yeah, so I'm digressing completely. What about yourself? How have you been?
Yeah, busy. Busy. I've just has to say, we've had Simon over in Boston. He's now back down in work. He's debating whether or not he's due to go to another Games Con, but obviously with current things being as they are, it may not happen. And I'm still kind of reeling from the whole moving preschool over a weekend, and now we're getting into, are we liking what we've got? Do we need to change things? And then add in current outbreaks to the equation. It's all a bit crazy at the moment.
Oh, wow.
But hey, you just have to get on with it, don't you? You can't, you know.
Sometimes life is like that, my lovely.
It is, and it's just got to, dust yourself down, get back up again, and meet the challenge head on. Nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Now, remember I ordered those cute earrings?
Oh, have you got them?
They finally arrived. Thank you to Anthony for my USA post office. And they're huge.
Are they?
I wasn't expecting them to be as big as they are. They are absolutely huge.
Oh, we need a photo then, Michelle.
There will be photos. I put them in my ear this morning. I thought, no, I'm not going to wear them all day because they are quite heavy. But they are gorgeous.
Right.
So excited. Anyway, we promised a Disney podcast for you guys, and many years ago we did decide to do one. And in a few moments we have coming up a wonderful guest, a lovely friend of ours, Tom Ameen, and he's going to share some of his beautiful music with you. But as we've just literally a few days past International Women's Day, I'd like to celebrate a wonderful Disney legend.
Okay.
And this is one of those legends that, to be honest, we all know of Mary Blair. You know, it's a big iconic name. We know of Joe Rhodey. These are the big names. But there are so many other worthy Disney legends that we just thought we'd just uncover and share with you.
Who are we talking about then, Michelle?
It's a lady called Joyce Carlson, and on the 16th of March 1923, she was born in Racine, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Now, this wonderful lady worked for the Disney Company for 56 years.
Wowzers.
She began at the studios in Burbank in 1944, and her first role was the traffic department.
The traffic department, Michelle?
Yeah, it made me wonder a little bit, thinking, well, is she in charge of all the little cars that go around the studios? But no, she was involved for delivering pens, pencils, paints and brushes to the animators so that they were able to animate. But in time, she also became an ink artist on films such as Cinderella, Peter Pan, Sleeping Beauty, and she was also a lead ink artist for Disney's 1955 classic, The Lady and the Tramp.
Oh, okay.
Now, in 1960, the way that the ink drawings were replicated changed. So, to keep her in the employ of Disney, they moved her over to WED Enterprises.
Wow.
And she worked on an iconic attraction.
Ooh, go on then. Iconic. What we talking?
We're talking collaboration with Miss Mary Blair.
Not It's a Small World.
She was part of the team that helped create the miniature prototypes for It's a Small World for the New York's World Fair of 1964.
Ah.
And she actually went over to the World's Fair and helped to ensure that everything was just right.
Cool.
Post-fair, she went and joined a team that refitted the attraction into Disneyland.
Right.
She also was involved in the versions for Walt Disney World and Tokyo.
Wowzers.
Now, D23 asked her what her favourite scene was, and she replied, "Though I've always liked the Europe scene with all the balloon kids and the can-can dancers and the Eiffel Tower. They're all my kids. I couldn't choose."
Oh.
You might want to say, "I've got a big family in It's a Small World."
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah. So she spent 10 months in Tokyo, and then in 1982 she moved to Florida and she worked as a senior show production designer at Walt Disney World.
So quite extensive then.
Yeah. 18 years later she retired but continued to work for Disney until 2007.
Good on her.
She's acknowledged in the parks with a window on Main Street, and it says, "Dolls by Miss Joyce, doll maker for the world."
Oh.
Sadly, she passed away on the 2nd of January 2008 in her then new home, Orlando, Florida.
Wow, that's quite a story. I feel ashamed that I'd not heard of her before.
I must admit I hadn't until I was doing a bit of research about Disney legends, and I thought, you know what? I love the attraction. I love the story. Perfect.
Yeah, because I think what we have to remember is for the likes of Joyce and the time that she was coming up through the ranks, so to speak, you know, women in the animation industry, it wasn't a normal thing, and they weren't given the key roles to do it. They were kind of fetch and carry, weren't they?
Which is where she started, but obviously a talent was spotted, and as with Walt Disney, that talent was nurtured and directed into various avenues.
Yeah, great example of what women can achieve.
Earlier on today, Jane and I recorded a little chat with the wonderful Tom Ameen, so I'd like to slot him in now and we can have a listen into that chat and enjoy some of his music.
Where dreams begin.
Well, hello and welcome to the Disney Dream Girls, our very much loved friend, talented pianist Tom Ameen. Hello there, Tom.
Hello, Michelle. Hello, Jane. This is the first time I've ever talked to Jane, I think.
It is indeed, yeah.
So glad that you guys are both here today.
It's so exciting. Our time zones have collided.
I know, and I forget that we turned our clocks ahead because it's daylight savings time in the States, which most of us hate anyway. But we forgot about that, so the time difference is a little bit more off than usual. But I think we'll make it work.
It is perfect, my lovely. So,
nice.
For listeners who perhaps haven't come across you, firstly, what on earth have you been doing? But let's just have a Tom Ameen, this is me, off you go. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, basically, I'm a piano player that's here in California. I live in the LA area, and I do my own original music, but I also have a love of Disney and Disney music, so I've released a bunch of Disney albums featuring music from the songbook and the Disney parks, but on solo piano. So I mainly just play piano only. So that's basically what I've been doing here. I've been playing music, doing my own stuff, but on the side, releasing these Disney albums, trying to get to Disneyland when I can, of course. But I just released a new album called Old Time Magic, and I'm so excited about it because I haven't done a Disney album. I think it's been a few years. So basically what I do is record Disney songs on solo piano and then release them, and hopefully people enjoy them, I hope. So that's the goal. But that's basically a pianist here in LA and just doing my thing.
The last album you released, was that the Star Wars one?
No, I think it was Dreams Come True. I think that's the one that was right after that. Because the first three albums I did, the first three were mostly the theme park music. And that's why I first appeared on your podcast, because we were talking about all the theme park rides that I recorded on solo piano because no one's ever done that kind of recording of them. And I'm a huge lover of the theme park music. That's what I love the most. I just love the theme park rides, especially the old Epcot rides from the 80s and all that good stuff. So that's what I started with. And then, of course, I started to do some of the songbook, like the Disney songs, the classic songs and songs from Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and all that kind of stuff, because that's all wonderful music. So this album, that's what Dreams Come True, I think, was the songbook. So it was just mainly music from the movies. This album, what I wanted to do was go back, and I called it Old Time Magic because I wanted to do songs from about the 1930s up to the 1970s. So that's what I focused on with this one. Star Wars one was great because I'm a huge Star Wars junkie, so that was fun to do.
Well, before we delve into this album, and we're going to share a few tracks with listeners as well, I'd just like to talk a little bit and just take things back to your Disney. What theme parks have you been to? When did you first go? And what is your particular Disney hook? Like for many people, it might be a particular attraction. It could be a particular show. It could be just the general thing. It could be the food. What is it? So there's a lot there for you to tell us.
Well, I know I listen to your podcast, so I love when you guys review the food. That's one of my favorite things. I love it. But I first started going to Disney World with my family, of course, back in, I want to say, like the early 80s. My parents didn't take it. I'm originally from Ohio, which is more on the east coast of the country. So most people that live in that area of the country go to Walt Disney World in Florida. So we started to go down there. I would say I was about 12 or so. We were a little bit older. My parents didn't want to bring us when we were younger. I think because they didn't think we'd remember it as much or whatever. So they started to take us down when we were older. So my first trip ever there, we went to Epcot and Magic Kingdom. Well, that's all that was there at the time. And I fell in love with Epcot because I loved my hook. My thing is Spaceship Earth. I love that ride. I love the icon of Spaceship Earth that's in Epcot. That's the first thing you see is after you park your car and you're walking towards the front gates. It's always been my favorite thing. And I love the concept of Epcot, how it had, well, now it's all changing, but how they had the future world in the front, and then that world showcase in the back, which highlighted countries around the world. And you can go and taste their food and talk to the people that are from that nation and ride some of the rides and learn about their cultures and history. I always loved that. So that was my favorite part of Disney World was Epcot. That's kind of like my hook. I actually just recently went down there in January, just this past January. I went to Epcot for a couple days, and then we checked out Animal Kingdom because I had never seen Avatar. I had never saw the Avatar land, so I got to finally see that. But Epcot's always been my favorite. So we started going down there when I was about 12, and we went down there about once every year, every 2 years. For about 6 or 7 years, we did that. And then as an adult, I just started going down and visiting friends, or I'd go down and meet my parents down there for a week and just spend about 5 days there or so and going around the parks and, of course, downtown, Disney Springs and all that stuff down there. I mean, we have Disneyland here, which is really great, and I've developed an affinity for it now that I live here, but there is nothing like Disney World. I mean, there's nothing like that place. So that's why I fell in love with it all those years ago. And I think that's why I have such an affection for all those 80s theme park rides at Epcot. Because when I heard those songs for the first time, I was just mesmerized by, like, Kitchen Cabaret. Do you remember that ride?
Yes, I do.
Excuse me.
Yes.
That was one of our favorite rides, Kitchen Cabaret. It was so awesome. And I'm trying to think what else. Horizons, of course, was so fun. And I remember, and I'm not sure if you guys will remember this, but there was a ride sponsored by Eastern Airlines. It's a now defunct airline. All I remember is Eastern Will Be Your Wings. And it was a ride that showcased, I think, travel and traveling history. And at the end, you go through this tunnel and all the walls around you were like a movie screen. And you were in those little buggies, kind of like Haunted Mansion. And all I remember is Eastern Will Be Your Wings. I don't know. Do you guys remember that? Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I've never actually. It was well before my Disney time.
Of course.
Well,
I mean,
I was there early 90s.
I think it was gone by then.
There was a few rides, because there was one at Tomorrowland, wasn't there? That was very similar, all about travelling and flight and that type of thing, which was kind of similar.
Maybe that was it, though. I don't know. Yeah, I can't. It's been so long that maybe that might have been the one. I'm not
getting
sure.
Some cobwebs off my brain, getting my brain working there, trying to remember that. Crikey,
I know it's going back a ways, but just loved all that stuff. It was just so magical. It was awesome. And to see the showcase, the World Showcase, and all the different countries. And of course, we loved Italy because we're part Italian. I loved Mexico. I loved all the countries. And just to taste some of the food there was just really interesting because, this was the early 80s, and travel, it's not the same as it is today, with culture and world stuff. It was different then. And it was just neat to get to experience all those different cultures. So, but yeah, that was where I fell in love with Disney, and then I fell in love with the theme park music. That was it.
So when did you actually start playing the piano then?
I started actually before we started going down there. I think I started when I was 11 or 12. Started all by ear. It was one of those weird things where I had started playing guitar, and I took guitar lessons, and my parents had bought a piano for my sister Lynn because she wanted to take piano. And one day we went out and saw, this is like the story, but to make it quick, we went and saw Superman 2, the movie at the time, I believe. And I felt, it was the first time I really heard music, and I heard the John Williams theme, and I was like fascinated. I couldn't get over it. And I guess I went home and just started playing it, sounding it out on the piano and just playing it. And my mom comes running into the living room and says, how are you playing that? I said, I don't know. I'm just hearing it and figuring it out on the piano. Then they said, would you like to take lessons? And then that's when that all started. So I started about 11 or 12.
Wow.
And it just came real natural to me. And then, of course, I fell in love with the piano. So, yeah.
I wish I could play a musical instrument, but I can't. I have no ear for music. I like listening to music, but I have no ear to be able to pick up and do something as amazing as that, as just go with something that you've heard once before. That's very special skill, I think, you've got there.
I do appreciate it because it helps a lot, even when you're at doing gigs or at events or whatever. Or people want you to play a song that you really might not know. A lot of times I can quickly get my phone out and just listen to it on YouTube and think, oh yeah, okay, I know that, or I can fake that, and then just go through it. So it's a big help. It really is. But that's how I fell in love. And that's how a lot of times too, which is nice about ear training, because a lot of people have this ability, they can hear stuff and then play it, which is nice though when there's no music available for some of this stuff. Like there's not a lot of music available for the theme park rides, like the sheet music. Like you can't find that anywhere. But because I knew it for so long and I grew up with it, and these songs are part of my psyche, it wasn't hard to just figure out the arrangements that I wanted to do with them. So that's where it's really lucky, because I didn't need the sheet music to do these songs, which is cool.
Yeah, never thought about that actually, but it's not an easy thing to find, is it? Especially some of going back in time to rides that are probably now defunct and trying to recapture those music as well, especially, and going back as far as you've gone with the latest stuff as well. I would imagine the same sort of thing, or are these more classics that are iconic tunes that are kind of set in perpetuity type of thing?
Now these are more available because these are classic Disney songs from, like, they call it the Disney Songbook. And what's neat, a lot of people don't know, is I based this album on a songbook. It was my first real Disney songbook, and I still have it. It was, I think I got it in 1980 or 81, but it was a thick collection of songs, all the Disney popular songs from the 30s through the 70s. And of course it stopped. I think the last two songs in it were from Freaky Friday and Pete's Dragon. Like those were the selects, because that was where it went up to. And it had this beautiful foreword in the beginning, like 20 pages of colored pictures and stories of Walt, and starting with Snow White and all the stuff. And it led up to the opening of Walt Disney World. It was a whole biography in the beginning. It was a really cool music book, and I still have it. Wow. And that's where I got my inspiration. I thought, I wonder if I should go through this book. Let's see what I haven't recorded, and some of my other favorite stuff that, a lot of people don't do, or something like that. And I started going through the book, and that's how I picked the songs for this album, was based on that book.
So let's talk a little bit about the songs that you've chosen before we give everybody a big treat and get to listen to a couple of them.
Cool.
It kicks off with the ultimate Disney song for me because it is just perfect. It's like you knew this is the song that you should start with. From my beloved Snow White, you have Hi Ho, and I love that song. But how did you narrow it down? I know you said it was from this songbook, but when you're looking at the songs and then thinking of the interpretation, what process do you go through to get the right version for you?
Well, the first thing I do is I write down all the songs I love or all the songs I think that will work. So I just put a whole list together. And most of the times I actually write it down. I start with physically writing on paper and pencil or whatever. I do that. Then what I do is I start to play through them. Now, some songs I really like and I might choose, but then when I go to play them, I can't, like, I don't feel the arrangement I want, or for me, it might not sound good on piano, or it doesn't work right. And then I go through and I delete those and say, okay, let's not do that song at this point. It just, for whatever reason, I'm not connecting with it. And that's basically how I whittle down the list. But I always knew I wanted to start with Hi Ho because Snow White was the first full animated feature, and I've always loved Hi Ho. It's just a great song. And I thought, I got to make this sound fun on piano. There just has to be a way. And I think I did a good job. Like, I really like how it turned out. I'm proud of how it turned out. But it's just such a fun song to sing. It's a fun song to play. And who doesn't know Hi Ho? You know, it's just one of these classic Disney songs. And I knew it was going to be the first song on the album. And it was the first song I recorded, actually, too. It's the first one I wanted to do. It was a lot of fun to do, but that's basically how I choose my lists. I just go through and then I start playing them. And if I really connect with a song, I say, okay, this one's going on, blah, blah, blah. And then I take it from there.
I'm going to ask that much hated question. When someone says, do you have a favourite child? Well, do you have a favourite track of your own on this album?
I understand. And you know what? I love to ask that of other musicians as well. Like, it's just fun. Like, there's got to be some that you like, not more than others, but they're kind of special to you. And I do have to admit, it was Hi Ho. That's the number one. I really, really like how Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo turned out. It's a little different. So I really had fun with that. I love Once Upon a Dream. I love that melody. So I think those were my three favorites.
Okay. Well, I've chosen one I'd like to share purely because, and this is going to sound really, really bizarre and off the wall, I've been singing a lot of Bare Necessities at the moment with my pupils because it's the song I've chosen and taught them to sing when they're washing their hands to avoid the coronavirus and all the germs.
Of course.
They sing as they come into school, they sing after the toilet, they sing before lunch, they sing after play times. They're washing their hands about 10 times a day. We are literally bankrupting ourselves of a school because of all the paper towels and all the hand gel and everything. Our water bill is going to be through the roof. So I'm hearing it all the time, and I just want to hear an absolutely perfect version. So let's share that now. Oh, I love that.
Thank you. That was another fun one to do. Just a great song. That's a great song.
And because you said you enjoyed the take you took on Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, I'm going to put that one on in a moment to finish off our little chat because it is beautiful. But I could quite happily play every single one, but... So I'm now stumped thinking of all the beautiful music that I have stored up on my little iPhone of yours. Which one I would put as my favourite. What would yours be?
If I had to pick an absolute favorite of this album, I think I would have to say Hi Ho, because I love how it turned out. I kind of sometimes sing the song to myself when I have to go do work, you know what I mean? Or stuff that I don't really want to do. I just say, okay, hi ho, it's off to work I go, you know? So I have to say Hi Ho. I love how it turned out.
I agree, it's lovely.
I have to say, Hi Ho music has some memories for me because we used to use the Hi Ho music at my preschool to encourage the children to tidy up. So we would play the music and all the children would just stop and start to tidy up the toys. And I'm now debating whether I need to reinstate it.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Maybe that's a trick we've missed of late. Perhaps I need to use your version, Tom, and get them to do it to your version.
Hey, there you go. It's all good.
So now thinking ahead, what's your next project?
Well, next, I think I'm going to focus. I would like to do an album of original music because I haven't done that in a while. My last original album was called Reflections of Love. So I would like to do that. Or what I'd like to do next, I would love to do another Disney album. But what I think I'm going to do for the first time when I do the next one is do instrumentation. So not only piano. Have arranged the song so there's drums and strings and stuff like that. I've never done that on a Disney album. And before I started to record this one, I did put the feelers out. Like I put on my Twitter and Facebook, I said, hey, you guys, I'm doing another Disney album, but I'm thinking of adding instruments. Like, would you guys want to hear that? Or do you like solo piano? And most people said to me, no, just do solo piano. So there's something pure about it that I think people like to listen to. But I think to experiment and kind of grow a little bit, and challenge myself, I think the next Disney album, I'm going to do arranged music. Like, it'll be piano focused, but I'm going to put drums on it and strings and kind of make it fun like that. That's my next goal.
That sounds exciting.
Could be fun, I know. Could be fun.
So, my friend, are you going to be around the theme parks in August or October? We need to meet. It's been a while since we've ate some pancakes.
It has been too long. So, yes, I will definitely, we have to make a plan. I'll make a plan to come down there and visit you when you're at Disneyland. And we have to eat pancakes, or we can eat at Earl Sandwich, because that was really good, too. That was the first time I was there, was with you, Michelle.
It was.
The first time. Although I have to say, pancakes are always a good thing.
True. Okay. Well, my lovely, we're going to put a big old bow on this little chat, and we're going to play you out with Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. But before we do that, just give yourself a shout out on social media where people can find you.
Sure. They can go to my website, which is Tom Ameen Music, and my last name's a little weird, I know, but it's spelled Ameen. So TomAmeenMusic.com. And from there's links to Spotify where they can just listen to the album for free. If they want to buy it on iTunes, there's links there as well. But based Tom Ameen Music, TomAmeenMusic.com. Yes, I can say that. And I'm also on Twitter at Tom Ameen and Instagram at Tom. Hold on, let me check my Instagram, because I'm just starting to get into it. And I'm trying to do more videos on there and trying to make it more of a musical page. My Instagram account is Tom Ameen Music, so they can reach me there as well.
Sounds absolutely perfect to me. Well, thank you for joining us on the show today, and let's hear out that Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo time.
Thank you so much.
hope you all enjoyed that. I'm glad I didn't play Baby Mine because I would be sobbing buckets.
You big softy.
Oh, it's just a softy song, and it's so close to Kieran's birthday as well. So.
All those maternal juices flowing.
Now, there are some details out there about the Marvel Land Phase 1 coming our way very, very soon. Did you see this?
I haven't, Michelle, no.
So, Phase 1 is opening up on the 18th of July.
Oh, so you'll get to see it then.
I will indeed, and part of Phase 1 is going to be the Pym Kitchen.
Right, okay.
And basically it's relying on the technology that Ant-Man and the Wasp use to grow and shrink.
Oh, okay.
So it's meant to have innovative food with a non-traditional scale.
Oh, so things that should be small are going to be big, and things that should be big are going to be small?
Yeah. There's something called the Impossible Spoonful, plant-based large and micro meatballs, and it's served in a supersized spoon, but then stuck in the top is a little tiny fork.
Okay.
There is a pimini.
Right.
And it's basically a panini, toasted focaccia, salami, rosemary and ham, provolone, sun-dried tomatoes, arugula and a marinara dipping sauce.
Okay.
Now this is going to be interesting because it's served as an individual, or you can get a multi-portion sandwich to serve a hungry family.
A multi-portion sandwich? That's something I've never heard of before.
I know. There's a not-so-little chicken sandwich. Now, this is the most ridiculous chicken sandwich I have ever seen in my life.
Okay.
There is this breaded piece of chicken.
Right.
With a tiny, tiny little bun on top with some slaw.
Okay.
It looks so silly, so please go and have a look over at our website, DisneyDreamGirls.com, where you'll see the pictures, because it's just totally out of sync.
It begs the question, I suppose it's obviously novelty for novelty's sake, but as long as you still got something tasty to eat, isn't it? I suppose.
There's the PB3 Superb Sandwich, which has peanut butter, banana, smoked bacon, strawberry jelly, and a banana smoothie shot, and crispy potato tops.
Oh, that does not do anything for me whatsoever.
But looking at it, it's got blue staining on it, so it looks like it's trying to sort of fit in with the Pym whole Marvel-esque take.
You see, blue on food says mould to me, but, you know.
And, of course, you've got to have a couple of beverages that you're going to be able to have. So there's going to be some drinks there, and obviously you will be looking for some adult alcoholic beverages.
Mm-hmm.
And they are all over on our website, DisneyDreamGirls.com. I am going to end, though, on one dessert.
All right, go on.
Now, we love a little bit of Tannalia Tivan over in Disneyland California Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this cosmic cream orb, and it basically is a big cream puff filled with blue raspberry cheesecake mousse.
Okay.
It looks vibrant, and I'd be worried what happens with the colour purple.
We always have this conversation around this choice of food colourings, don't we?
Yeah. And then they're also going to be selling sweet spiral rations, and basically these are bright green, lilac, rose pink, blue churros. But they're in a spiral bun shape.
Right, okay.
All very interesting, all very different.
And I'm sure you'll be able to force yourself when you're over there, Michelle, just for the podcast's sake, obviously, to try an odd one or two.
Yeah, opening up summer 2020, 18th of July, I will be there.
Mm-hmm.
So, our lovely, lovely listeners, thank you for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Don't forget, you can catch up with us over on Instagram and Twitter at DisDreamGirls. There is our Facebook page, Disney Dream Girls Podcast Family and Disney Dream Girls. If you want to support the show, hop on over to Patreon, and our Patreon supporters this month are having a real treat because they will have just received a fabulous foodie fest, and they'll also be receiving 1 or 2 extra tracks from the wonderful Tom Ameen to listen to and enjoy. But until next time, it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.